everybody, it's Josh from Pretty Good Books here with another book I think you should read, or as we call it, an ABITYSR. This week I'll be talking about Educated by Tara Westover. Educated's been out for a couple years now, but I can't let it go. It's that good. In fact, I would argue it's one of the best books that I've read in the last few years. Educated is a memoir that tells the story of Tara Westover's life growing up as a member of fundamentalist Mormon community in rural Idaho. Basically, it starts off with her father, who is extremely paranoid. He believes that the government and or the Illuminati are out to get him constantly. And so he doesn't allow his children to have birth certificates, and Tara never goes to school. All the learning that she gets are bits and pieces and scraps that she picks up from her mother and her older siblings, who occasionally teach her one or two things on their own. She eventually, though, does well enough on her exams to be able to go to Brigham Young University, and then after several years to Harvard, where she gets a PhD in history. In many ways, the story really begins after Tara leaves home, begins to confront things in the outside world. She begins to understand what life is like for everybody else, apart from the community that she grew up in. It's a story about triumph and becoming, but also the pain that new learning can bring. The cognitive dissonance is overwhelming for Westover at times. She has to suffer through the difficulties of confronting her past life and the things that she's been taught, and also the difficulties in confronting her own family. The writing in this book is gorgeous. Westover is a journeyman word turner. The psychological realism is frightening. She builds from one terrifying moment to the next until you have no choice but to just hang on for dear life and hope that something useful comes out of all these horrible experiences. But she's also extremely honest. I would argue that one of the best things about this book is she goes out of her way to provide evidence for the things that she's talking about. So where sometimes people who write memoirs can be accused of leaving things out or embellishing the facts or trying to make themselves look better, Westover goes out of her way to provide other people's perspectives on the events that she talks about, even when their stories don't 100% line up with her own, which I would argue does a great service to the reader and proves that Westover isn't out to push an agenda or anything. She's doing her level best to present the truth. I would argue that just about anybody would be able to get into this book. It's really well written, it's really engaging, the plot really moves. And as I said before, she's just a great writer. Somebody just pulled up. Mask time. I'll be back. All right, and we're back. What was I talking about? Well, first of all, thank you everybody for wearing masks in the store. It's really helpful. My wife's immunocompromised, so it's very kind of you to wear a mask in the store for us. Educated got me thinking a lot about what it means to learn something, and that while learning is necessarily freeing and exhilarating and empowering, it also comes with a cost, and sometimes learning things is painful. Confronting our previously conceived notions is a difficult thing to do. And it makes me wonder if maybe the moment that we stop confronting our assumptions is the moment that we stop growing intellectually. I don't know. I learned a lot from Educated, and I think you will too, which is why Educated by Tara Westover is a book I think you should read. I've got links down in the description for our bookshop page, or as you can see, we got several copies in the store. See you soon. Bye.